Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Campfire. I'm RoyalAmes, and this week we have a really special episode to me, at least, because we're talking about collegiate gaming, specifically collegiate gaming orgs. And as you may know, I'm in college, so that's the thing that's pretty special to my heart. And this week, our two lovely guests are Kevin from University of Washington and Sabrina from UCR. And if you guys want to introduce yourself and talk a little bit more about like your who you are and why we should listen to you, I guess. Who wants to start? Anyone? Okay, you,
I'll
Kevin.
start.
Or it's Sabrina.
Oh, never mind.
Sabrina first.
All right. So my name is Sabrina Wong. I'm the president of UC Riverside's gaming organization called Highlander Gaming. It's my second year, and it's the club's fourth year. So we're relatively new, and hopefully I can give some insight to you guys about, how to recruit members and how to, sell your club and make it grow.
Hi, my name is Kevin. I'm the president of the UW Gaming Association. It's actually been formed in April, so it's relatively new, but there's about 13 clubs inside the gaming association. So we're all kind of figuring out how to work together and become one unified gaming body on campus. I'm here to just talk about how unification happened and how I could best help you and how to pool each other's resources and, probably piggyback on a lot of what all you successful girls did in your clubs.
And for those of you who might not know, because I wasn't very public about my school until recently, I am a director for the UT Austin which is Longhorn Gaming, their gaming org, which is the founding chapter of TESPA. So had a long history, but yeah, we've run into quite as many obstacles as anyone else. So, all right, so let's start off with, let's just talk about what gaming orgs do. This is kind of generic, but like, why would people join you? What is your recruitment pitch? Why should you join a gaming org in the first place?
Okay, well, at Highlander Gaming, we're not only just a PC gaming club, which kind of people assume. We're more of a variety gaming club, so we do mostly PC, but we also cater to, those players who do console games, iOS games, and evil tabletop sometimes. We try to find a healthy balance as well between our casual gamers and our competitive gamers. So if you're more like the person who likes playing ARAMs and just trolling around in Overwatch playing Tavern Brawls, it's fine, it's okay. But if you want to do like the esports program as well, we have those resources for you to, take advantage of and make it out of your college career.
Yeah, likewise, with the Gaming Association at the University of Washington, we provide an outlet for any gamer. We want to find a support for you and find people that play the same games as you do. The end mission is to say, hey, if you play Madden, FIFA, or even League of Legends or Dungeons and Dragons, there should be people that you can affiliate with and kind of connect with and meet with on a bi-weekly or weekly basis, and that you could take offline or even online sometimes. So at the same time, we do provide a huge esports avenue. I know that we've played on Heroes of the Storm, and we played on ULaw, and we've won ULaw in the first year, or NACC first year, and we were on ESPN. We want to provide that outlet for students because it's such a huge passion that people play games at that competitive level, but they do not have, they might not have friends that are as good, or they want to take their gaming to the next level. They can't find those people. So that's kind of what being in something bigger than yourself organization is, and that's kind of what we want to achieve.
And I spent all day today outside in Texas tabling, and our recruitment pitch sounds fairly similar.
Yeah,
first and foremost, it's a social club, I think, for us. Of course, we do the collegiate esports, and of course, we compete as well. But in the end, a lot of it is just finding other people who also play games, because we're all hermits, as we all know.
That's it's funny that you bring up the hermit thing, right? Because I always joke about this, but kind of semi-serious about this is that a lot of parents come up to us during when you're tabling in the sun at 102 degrees in Riverside. It's terrible, but they come up and say what does my child gain from joining your club? Aren't they just going to play video games all the time? And it's the opposite of that, right? Because when you're in a gaming club, you want to sell that the fact that you're creating a community. You're having interactive space to talk to other gamers, to talk about what you're interested in, rather than just sitting alone in your dorm room like feeling kind of lonely or whatever. You're like seeing them face to face, and I think that's kind of like one of the best things about joining a collegiate esports organization.
For sure.
Right. And it's all about people, and it's like people that you've met through gaming, and just it's easy to connect with people via gaming nowadays. Like it's cool to play League of Legends, and it's best to just take that and meet a bunch of people that play League, because you never know who you might come across. People that are designers, lawyers, like all sorts of people play games now, and I think it's just opening doors and breaking boundaries with gaming. And the hermit is the one thing that's, at the same time I say that, the hermit is a huge problem. We want them to come out, and it's always one of the biggest challenge for any gaming association, right?
Yeah. And we'll definitely talk about a solo later, because events really promote people to come out as well, but we'll get there. And I will say that we're all TESPA chapters, right?
Yes.
Yes. TESPA does promote game agnostic, which is why we're all like all games. Of course, there's orgs that are league specific or like game specific, but I think having a general org is like really nice, because you meet people who play multiple games, and even though they may not play the same game as you, you could become good friends as well.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree with that.
So this is a little weird of a question, because this is a campus-specific thing. Like, how would you find your gaming org on campus? Tabling is a big thing. For us, we have, like, org, lists. But, how would you find it on your campus? We'll help other people figure out, like, where they can look on their campus as well.
Yeah,
right.
well,
Go ahead.
Okay, well, for UC Riverside, actually, we have this thing called Highlander Link, where all the organizations are listed, so it's kind of easy for people to look up. But I think it's really easy to, if you just have someone tabling at a freshman orientation, for example, or a transfer orientation, which is what our organization is doing currently. People just stop by, they see the free things, they see the TESPA banner, they see the League of Legends banner, like, it's just like, then you just start a conversation, right? You just start talking to them, like, what games do you play? What are you interested in? Make it about, the person you're talking to rather than about yourself. And I think with that, you can create a really strong connection with that person. And, you want to show that there's a community out there where they're going to belong. Like, I think that's like the number one thing.
It's actually really funny, because we have a similar thing called Horns Link. Like, it's also all the orgs on campus. But what about you, Kevin? What do you think?
Yeah, we have those RSO websites. But yeah, definitely the free things to make them go, ooh, like I remember tabling for Heroes of the Dorm. Like, it was Valerie and Kevin He that came and gave us a bunch of the Blizzard stuff, and we took like 6 tables and table there, and it was just people's eyes just wander. We had cookies to any bars of food, chips. But then end of the day, though, it's just like getting them for that 2 minutes and kind of making that elevator pitch. I would say like I would say I have 2 elevator pitch, from one for my job and one for my esports org, and someone's at the door. But yeah, let me go. I gotta go get it.
Of course.
But yeah, I definitely agree with what he was saying about the elevated pitch. There's also like, I think most schools, since we're probably talking to like the broader sense of all collegiate gaming, most schools have an involvement fair. Like, make sure your organization goes to that, because I've seen so many other gaming organizations, especially mine, before when I was a freshman. It was really hard to see them like in person, right? You see them on Facebook, you see their social media, that's great, but like being there in person, just talking to them for 1 or 2 minutes makes all the difference.
Yeah, and we're kind of jumping ahead from whatever our list is, but that's fine, because recruitment is a huge thing, and I do want to talk about that a lot, because recruitment is how you build your org, it's how you keep your org up, and it's how you get people in. And I also agree, talking to people and being present and tabling is a huge deal. What other like advice do you have for tabling or any kind of recruitment in general?
I would say build a website. It costs basically nothing nowadays to get like a simple, like a Squarespace or WordPress, and just securing like something like longhorngaming.com, or for us it's WJUW. Not up yet, but it's huge to just say, hey, find anything about us on this one website, rather than linking 15 different club accounts, because we have Overwatch, we have all those like subgroup of communities. Like, if you can just support that on one website, it makes your life a lot easier. And print out 1,000 business cards, like they're like $20, and then just have the link to your website that just redirects you to everyone to whatever games they care about. And then have your main events on that website. You have your kickoff event, you have your huge, world's viewing party is another big one. You can have all that up there without having to post on like every single channel. It's a good way to drive traffic. Sponsors love that too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's a monetization plan.
What about you, Sabrina?
Well, just to build on what Kevin said, yeah, we do like the website is a great idea, but I also think newsletters is actually pretty successful for us, at least at UC Riverside. There's a lot of social media links you can use. There's a lot of websites, but sometimes like just like a email with just some text, your next events, keep it up every month. I think that gets more people, it's like kind of brought to them rather than them having to look at it, which, is good at both sides. But the more resources you have, the better, because you want to make sure that people feel like they're like involved, that they're needed, right? And when you have things like website, social media, email, even during general meetings, just talk about it, like just be open. That's the best advice I can give for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, actually, mailing lists are something that we kept getting asked about today, which is something we don't have. I will say, for recruitment, tabling is also important, getting your face out, getting people out. I stole I'm going to totally admit that I stole an idea from from another school's like tabling picture of these Pokemon Go team counters. For our tabling today, and it was so effective. Like, I will say that when you're tabling, a big thing after like watching what happened today is like having interactive things like that to draw people in is really good. And the other thing is, especially while you're tabling, just yell at people, because I mean, we all know the nature of gamers. They'll look but they may not come up and talk to you. And if you notice someone looking at your table, but they're a little too shy to come up, just yell, "Do you play video games?" at them, and usually they'll come up to you. So those are my 2 cents. And Mystic won so much.
We're trying out something new. We're buying a prize wheel. It's like $40 on Amazon, and we're gonna start questioning people at our first event, because we have a kickoff event that we're working with the university on. We're supposed to have over 1,000 students to come to that event, but we want to kind of interact with them more and kind of get them more hype rather than giving them free stuff for free. We want to have them earn a prize to spin the prizing wheel, from like a keyboard to anything. I'll let you know how that goes. If it works, I'll share the information. It would just be a fun activity, like for example, at our TESPA Heroes of the Dorm tabling, we had questionnaires. So like you had to answer like what it was Raynor's like Q ability does and whatnot, or like what was his ship called or something. If you won, if you get 4 out of 5 right, you get like swag, and everyone feels a lot more earned. Feels like they earned it, and they do. It's a lot of fun, and you get to watch them. We get to watch them stumble on questions and hate themselves for forgetting a champion's ability. So
I've seen the prize wheels being used by a lot of other orgs. That's a really good idea. And like now that we're talking about like tabling at events and your orgs, what obstacles have you run into with your orgs in general? Because now that we've talked about recruitment, let's talk a little bit into how to grow an org or even start one. So like, what kind of obstacles have you run into? How did you overcome them, or how do you plan to? Because I know we have a lot of issues that we need to fix for this year. So,
well, I think every organization is going to come through issues. Like no matter how confident or how perfect you think your event's going to be or your organization. Just I think first off, don't take things too personally. Personally, like I feel like I'm kind of have OCD, and when something's like not going my way, I'll like take it like, oh, like I need to put more. But in reality, it's a team, just like a video game, it's a team-based thing, right? Like you have to find people's strengths and like play to that. Like if someone's really good at graphic design, you don't want to put them in photography, because like although it could be similar, if they're not comfortable in that space, it's gonna be awkward and like it's not gonna work. And also I think definitely one thing I really learned was don't get over your head, because if you just started out a club, or if you're experienced and have things, you have to make sure that your resources are there first, you plan accordingly, and you try to maximize what you have, not overreach, because that's just going to put stress on everybody, the members, the officers, the people running. Just things to consider.
Right. I would say our biggest challenge would be when we first united under one umbrella. It was just getting everyone's buy-in, and a lot of these clubs, existed for 6 to 8 years, and this is such a huge change, and it's just going through each person, each leader, and kind of sitting them down and like spending that hour to 2 hour, kind of explaining how this would all work to them, and then get everyone to the door and just sitting at one table and just working out everyone's disputes, because everyone had their own. Everyone's trying to protect something. I think the struggle is finding out what they're trying to protect and how you could, instead of not take away but empower them to do the same thing but in a bigger picture. Um, so with that, it's a lot of butting heads at first, and it's just playing to their strengths and knowing what they love about their club and making sure that you don't step over it. You know, I would also say giving responsibility is super hard. As president, you have lots of responsibilities, but you can't just have everything. You can't be the one doing everything, and people won't feel as committed, if you're the one that has all the glory, right? Give someone else the glory, right? So my suggestion there is, instead of having like one event planning team, like the head event planner, switch it up every now and then. Like say instead of say like one of your lands that's coming up, why have the same person successful at land run it? Instead, empower someone younger to kind of step up and hold their hand through that process. Because end of the day, you're just sharing knowledge and passing knowledge down. It's like kind of like each one teach one. So that's my mentality there. Just to give an answer to the problem of having too many responsibilities.
Yeah, for sure. We've had a problem recently of director and president burnout. So we'll have our president or one or two directors doing everything, and then we'll lose the rest of the director board. And in that case, we also have issues with member retention because it means we're not doing quite as much as we could be. And so it's actually a problem we're trying to fix now. And right now, it seems like we have a good director board. And part of how we fixed it, which may not work for everyone else, is our president actually picked everyone by what they wanted to do instead of having specific roles in mind. So asked everyone what they wanted to do and then picked enough people to cover like everything that we needed. So that's like an issue that we ran into. And the other thing with retention is more of how we structured our family system, which I don't think is something that every gaming org does, but we do have like a family system since we're so large. And that's how we usually retain people, and we had to fix it. But yeah, so that's some of the obstacles we run into recently. Of course, we've had a lot of other obstacles, but that is before my time, so I can't really speak on that. But I know you had to combine a lot of orgs to help to create an umbrella org, and Kevin and Sabrina, you said that your club is fairly new. So if someone wanted to start a gaming org at their college, what is your advice to them? Like, what would you tell them?
If none exists, just because I know some clubs have like four League of Legends clubs. Some schools have four League of Legends clubs. Let's just say like none exists, right? You're like, damn, I wish there was something, right? I would take the example of my director of Magic, so Magic the Gathering. He actually came to WGA. Just he didn't know gaming existed on campus. He thought he was the only one, because But what he was doing though, he was doing bi-weekly Magic events, on campus that brings out 40 to 50 people. He started it on himself the day one he started college, right? He saw that there's a need, and that because there's none, he needs to provide it. Um, I would start with that, just having that initiative kind of aspect to it. And at the end of the day, you're just going to be connecting with people. The moment you throw up a flag of like, this is what I'm going to do, people will start resonating with you, and you will start weeding out the people that don't. Um, if That's like the best way to start, like, is just to plan an event, invite a few of your friends that play the same game, and then start opening doors, right? Get the pizza for that night, for your dorm room, whatever. It starts from like the little things.
Hmm. I have to agree with that, and I also like have something like kind of relevant to that as well. Is that when you have like so many people and there's like a need, and you're like you feel like you're alone and that you're the only person, like don't be afraid to go and try to find a really strong officer board who has the same goals as you. Just like you said, like the guy who like wanted to create magic. I assume that like eventually he found a strong officer board, or he found people that he could trust in. And I think it's really important when you create a club, or even when you're like already kind of like far along the way, it's you need people you can trust, and you guys have like some sort of relative knowledge that you guys can rely on each other and work on something big together, because that's what esports is going to be in the future, right? We're like laying down the bricks for everyone else in the future, so you want to make sure that you have strong member retention, and you want to have a strong board as well.
Yeah, so on member retention, what have you guys noticed that works, and what have you guys noticed that doesn't work? Very curious, not only for myself, but a little bit.
I would say don't be as spammy. You're trying to like, get them to know about your events, but then like the more you, post once a week or like send out a newsletter every week or every other week, it's kind of a little bit too much. I would, for example, one of the best ways we retain something was kind of establish what the events are. Hey, we have bi-weeklies on these days, then people know. And we also say, hey, we have World's Viewing Party, we have the huge LAN event where we're cross-collaborating with everybody. I think the member, and just being very, like, if you're talking about your 20, 30, 40 person event where it's your bi-weeklies, right? People will know, and people will always feel like it's something you guys can maintain. Do not drop off your bi-weeklies, and don't let it deteriorate, because that's going to obviously deter members from coming back. So I don't know how Smash does this, but Smash is everyone can learn from Smash, right? They have the biggest, most heartfelt gaming community out there. I don't care what anyone says, but I've never seen anyone as vibrant as Smash. So if you don't know how to maintain members, I would start talking to Smash people. And I've learned so much from them over the last few months, because they don't have the ability to go online, right? They have to come together. They have to plug and play. And they provide a lot of value every other week when they do play. They're meeting people. They're everyone's seeing a new face. Everyone's trying to improve. So if you can build that, some sort of loving community within that game, you want to build a community for, then you have something that you can go build a larger campaign on. It all starts with the bi-weeklies. Get something in every other week, and kind of work on trying to ask some questions like, how can I do better? Do I need food? Do I need things? Like, best to like, the more you can move it away from giving them free stuff for coming and just having them be there for the raw, like, you're there because you're in college and you want to build a gaming community together, then you have a beautiful situation.
I totally agree about the Smash community. I don't know how they do it, but they have a great community. What do you think, Sabrina?
Well, I also agree with that. I think one thing that we focus on at UC Riverside is consistency, right? Like, you want something that people can rely on. So we have this thing called Friendly Fridays, where every week we choose a different title, but it's always Friday. It's always at the same time, same Discord channel. Everyone gets on Discord together, and there's something that people can rely on, right? You don't want to, like, events that come and go are great, huge events that works. But if you want something that makes people really belong, you need to make sure that there's a schedule that they can follow, that's easy and that's available for them, because they don't miss a week. There's like 3 more weeks left. It's fine. I think consistency and trying to find things that your members are actually interested in. Like, of course, like, officers should always be representing what the members want. And sometimes, like, when Pokemon Go hype was up, we put down lures because that's what everyone wanted. If people are suddenly crazy about like Black Desert launch, we gotta work with that too. So you always want to keep surveying, keep asking, keep discussions up on your Facebook, your Twitter, your social media, and just make sure that the members are happy. It's like pretty as simple as that.
Yeah, feedback is always a good thing to take into account. Yeah, we've gotten some feedback on things that has helped us, get people together. Like, we're working to get in like Ethernet connections in our LANs, because the university is really annoyed with that. But no one wants to bring out their computer if they have to play on Wi-Fi. So it's a lot of that kind of little stuff that you have to listen to. And I will say, like, our org is fairly big, and so our family system is actually a pretty huge key, and has been in the past, into member retention, because the org is too big. And as much as we break up by, like, we do have like groups for specific games as well. I will say, if you're having issues with like too many members, that's definitely like something to think about. Create like Sorry, I never explained what the family system is. It's we basically have like smaller groups of people with a family head, and then they have their own events. They create, their own socials, and we actually also pit all of the families against each other in competition and earning points. So games like showing up sometimes will give points to events and stuff like that, which also encourages people to come back. So that's a little bit of us. And so we kind of started talking about this earlier, but let's move on to, speaking of which, events. What events do you guys usually run? And we already talked about this a little bit. What have you noticed have been successes and failures? And that's also a huge key to a lot of gaming orgs. So
So I'm gonna throw out one of our biggest one is the World's Viewing Party. I personally did not run my own World's Viewing Party because League of Legends had its own club at that time. But it's we're planning it. I'm planning it with the directors of League for the first time here as the one gaming organization. But I know that has been like the flagship event of many clubs, and I'm going to use that as an example. I'm going to relay that with other events that I've ran before that I feel like had a lot of struggles, but had a lot of turnout as well. And I think one of the biggest challenge is setting expectations and getting people to buy in on what you're doing. This is your baby, it's not their baby, right? If you have there's people that are volunteers, they love to help out, but they're not as engaged as you are. They're not as passionate. Getting them like even remotely like 50 or 60, 80% as passionate is huge, right? You don't have to give them crap about not being as enthusiastic as you are, right? Because they don't run your organization, right? But they are essential members that make it happen. And it's just giving them that incentive, like, hey, what do you want to do? Like, how do I support you so you can do a better job? Like, oh, like I can recommend you for, like a lot of people like sorry, I'm going on tangent, but it's just finding what your officers want to do, and then making it actionable and holding them accountable for it. Even if they mess up, it's the feedback system afterwards. So for example, our website, or people that fell off, people get busy, people have busy lives, the biggest struggle is making sure that they keep up with their word. If they don't follow up with you, you have to follow up back when projects are due. But if they don't follow up at all, you can kind of get the feel that they don't want to own it anymore. And it's kind of like a lose-lose situation. You have to kind of cut off ties. I think the lesson here is that know when it's best to cut off an officer because of other circumstances, right? Like they might have an internship, they might have something happen, and they have a midterm. Know when it's best that they just want to leave the club, and then have someone else take their role and maybe do a better job. There's always someone as passionate, as hungry as you are, and you got to be able to weed those out, because those people who just hurt your club more than they actually do good for it, because once half their heart is out, then they're already gone, right? It's going to affect your overall reputation, the club's reputation.
yeah, we did go off on a little bit of a tangent, but that's okay. It is officers are pretty important. They are your face in the club, and some bad officers can really just do more damage than you think. There is a interesting questions from chat that I'm gonna go ahead and pull in. So, you guys have your events paid or free? And I know this is always a different answer from different clubs. So,
For most of our events at UCR, they're actually mostly free because we kind of want to open the club up and make sure that people, are willing to come. Because if you consider like when, I don't know if most states have this now, but California started this like bag ban where if you wanted a plastic bag, you'd have to pay 5 cents, and that cut like 96% of plastic bag usage at those specific grocery stores. So, I mean, if 5 cents they can't buy a bag, what's going to do that for your event, right? You want people to come. You want people to be engaged. And that's where sponsors come in and help you and save the day. So you can, really run your event and, do it to the best as you can.
I could talk about monetization with events and also with like if you create your own like t-shirts and swag, right? So first with events, our major events are always you have to pay, right? There's so much overhead with like locking down a venue and having a staff and like paying for like Facebook advertisements, whatever. There's food and whatever. Like there's so many different costs that you have to just charge admissions, right? You're putting up a show. Um, in terms of the free events, this those biweekly community events, always free, always available. I know clubs like UBC they charge a membership fee to be part of the UBC club. It's a $10 I think fee, $10 or $20 fee. That's huge value for their club because they have what $20,000 to operate with every year because they have such a huge organization and a brand that have to keep maintain. So if you're at that point where you need to find other ways to monetize, don't be afraid to charge membership fee. We have not yet figured that out because we're so new, but I think that was very insightful when Hantao told me about it and how it worked. Like it gave them access to everything. Like if you were a member, you had access to all the events. You just kind of build a tier of rewards, right? Pay this much, you
Yeah.
get this and this. You get food every time you go to an event. You get a place to sit down, or every time you go to Wang Yu Cafe is one of his incentives. But when it comes to say you want trying to raise capital, for example, our jerseys we sold over 200 esports jerseys at $35 to $45 a jersey. It costs us $22 for a jersey, and that's when you can that gave us a lot of operating revenue for the year to come. Um, and it's just people in esports, right? They love supporting their school, right? I love my University of Washington Collegiate team, whatever it is. Like on Twitter, we had like business consultants from London watching us play on Heroes of the Dorm. He ended up purchasing a jersey because he was a UW alumni, right? You can do this for any university, right? Merch for gaming is huge, and understanding understanding the cost there and how much to sell it for, completely different beast. But I can tell you that you can charge between $30 to $50 per jersey, and people will buy it because they support your brand. Just showcase it to them. What we do is we take our fans' photos and we retweet them, or we post like looking good, or like make it feel less special, right? It is special. You're supporting your club that you helped created, and it's just being authentic there. And and we see them walking around we see them walking around campus all the time, and you just want to stop them there and take pictures with them, because they showed support for your club. And it's just being out there and just being warm and engaging with them, and it just because they're supporting you, right? They're supporting your esports team to compete. So think about drawstring bags, stickers, to think about ways to build a collection of merchandise, because I know no one's really doing that right now, except like obviously the official schools with actual programs.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never really thought about like merchandise like that. I will say that on the note of like membership dues, we actually do charge, or we kind of have membership dues, so they're not required to join the club, and they never are. You can, and ours are extra beyond the TESPA dues, and so they can opt in. We might be changing this soon, but they can opt in to just pay the TESPA part. They can pay our membership or pay the both of them. And so what ours is like, oh god, like $15-$20, but they get a shirt and they get entrance to all of our events for free, and like free raffle tickets, I think, when they come to like an extra like door prize or something when they come to events and stuff like that. And like just that little bit of money, like he said, spread across all of these people who will want to put money in to get into your events, can be a really big help to helping you put events on. And then sometimes if people don't join the org and they show up to your events, they end up paying the entrance fee, but then they see what they can get with a membership, and then they'll join later. So it's kind of an interesting idea, but the key with membership fees, as always, is to make sure they're not too much. Like you have to find a good balance between what would be helpful for you to have and what you think someone would pay you to join your club. Um, so I'll say
Yeah.
that. Sure. And alright, we're on to our last topic, which is collegiate esports, because we all love our collegiate esports here. But just kind of like what to look forward to, and do you guys run any like intramural like tournaments, so like tournaments that happen within your org? Because we run a League One every year, and we're starting up an Overwatch one. So that's a lot of fun. Things to look forward to with your clubs. So what about you guys? What are you guys looking forward to in the collegiate esports scene?
Yeah, well, this year for UC Riverside, it's probably one of our best, years to start out. We're gonna have like 3 league teams. We're gonna have a really good Overwatch team that's played in the TESPA Summer Series, which is awesome. We're trying to make a COD team actually, which is pretty crazy and fun. And there's just gonna be so much going on. As for intramural, we do have a lot of events and tournaments specifically for intramural because we feel like a lot of our talent, gets to play in the national. But a lot of people get left out sometimes because you can't have everyone on the same team. So we try to keep those up again in our Friendly Fridays, but sometimes we also have them like an annual event for League and an annual event for Hearthstone and stuff like that. It's just a really good community, and it's I definitely recommend it to any club because not everyone can be a star player, not everyone can be ranked 72 or anything. So.
Yeah, I mean, we do Overwatch now, Hearthstone. We do play League, but you gotta have those every month. It's just good for a way to people to show off their skills and like build new teams and hang out in person or online. I think one of our most fun event is that we switch it up every time. So say you have a top 30, top 16 bracket, and you have a randomized team of 5, right? The first game could be League of Legends, but the second game could be Game Beast. You don't know what Game Beast, you can check it out on Steam. And the finals might be like something completely stupid. Because you don't want to. It's not always about the super good league player that's carrying everybody, right? You want to throw something random. So we do pick up a few Steam games that we throw out here and there that kind of forces people to learn real quick and then suffer and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, we also run tournaments at our lands as well, which like pulls people in. But yeah, I'm also looking forward to the TESPA Overwatch because we were also in the summer series, and of course there's always like CSL and ULOL this year for like other tournaments to look forward to, and I'm sure there's gonna be a bunch of others that pop up as well. But things to look forward to, and Overwatch is huge right now, so definitely get into that. And I kind of like that idea of having like, it's almost like, don't they do that at like PAX or something where they have tournaments where they just do random games? Is it PAX that does that? That might just be PAX South, but they do have tournaments. They pull like random people who attend. It's at one of the conventions, and they'll make them do something like at each stage, like play a random game. And of course this is for a convention, but that's kind of a cool idea to like make a tournament that's like also the part of it. Well, we're about coming to the end of our planned topics. So, do you guys have anything you'd like to add before we start wrapping up here? Anything you're burning to tell people?
I think we've covered almost anything, but I also wanted to add, other than CSL, ULOL, TESPA, there's also NCESPA, which is pretty cool to look into. Yeah.
Oh,
that
nice.
was pretty good too.
And there's
So
also
if you're
Collegiate Coliseum, I think.
Yeah, Collegiate Coliseum sign up started yesterday, I think. So that's exciting. $100,000 prize pool, I think. Actually, in Las Vegas. Yeah, that's awesome. So we'll be out there.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we are wrapping up, and there is a tradition on our show that every time we end, we get to the core of where our guests, how did our guests get started into gaming or esports, or both, and what the origin of their gamer tag is. So, who wants to start and tell us how did you get into gaming?
I'll go.
Yeah, go
All
ahead.
right, go.
All right. So I think mine's is pretty simple. So basically around sophomore and junior year of high school, that's when I started getting into League of Legends. It was like late season 2, and who just came out? I think it was like, anyways. So I saw Vi as the loading screen one day, and I was like, this is the game I want to play. And I just got into League that time, and I was just playing, and I played on a MacBook back then. I played on 20 FPS, and I totally thought it was normal. It was absolutely terrible, but it was super fun at the same time. Made a lot of friends. And then my friends took me to MLG Anaheim 2013. And that's when my life changed, dude. Like, when I saw all those people, like, standing there, and, like, all these people waiting to take pictures with, like, Dyrus, Wild Turtle, etc., like, I was like, these are celebrities. Like, this is something big. And I like since then, I don't know, like I just like had such a passion for gaming, and once I got into college, I joined, my local Highlander Gaming that was brand new at that time. Worked my ranks up, and now I'm like president for the second year, so that's exciting. As for my gamer tag, I mean, it's kind of unoriginal. It's just Sabbyrina, but most of my games now have changed to Sab, so if there's another Sabbyrina, that's not me. Double check. I'm not verified on Twitter yet, but I will in the future.
All right, what about you, Kevin?
So what was that? Starting like when I started gaming and how I got into esports and how I got my gamer tag.
Yes.
Oh, so gaming was like I picked up a controller when I was 4, played like anything and everything from Nintendo, Super Nintendo onward. Did not get into esports until League of Legends actually. That was the game that like made me grind the most, like that hooked me the most. Before that, I was playing World of Warcraft the most. But League was very weird because it was a game that you could play endlessly. I don't know about you, but for me, like even if you lose, you just want to play. Like you want to queue up like nonstop, and it's like already 6 a.m. Um, Esports though was season 2. I think that was what was that one? That was the Taiwan team, TPA and
Yeah.
what's it called? Zubu Frost. Yeah, TPA versus live in Taiwan, right? That's when I was like, holy shit, this is freaking awesome, and watched it on Twitch. Had a viewing party at my house, and got into esports ever since. Did coach the UW team for a bit, and then got into Challenger Fives, and then like was an analyst for Team Solo Mid for the spring split. And then now, never looked back since. Kebunbun was actually a nickname that my 6th grade crush gave me. So I just used it since. It's kind of cliche, but it's been a good name, and people call me Kebunbun now. And I don't know, just thank you, Anna.
Oh, that's good. I actually haven't talked about mine in a while since I've been on the show enough that it's been talked about, but I might as well since it's been a while. I started in Dota. Wasn't a League player, and my friends just got me into Dota. And my very first game, they didn't tell me how to play. They just kind of like threw me in. Well, I had played like a game of League or two, and so they just assumed that I knew what I was doing and didn't tell me anything. And I died like 19 times in the first game, and I don't even know if we won or not. And then the reason I got into esports was actually the international. I watched the international, and I was like, wow, it's pretty cool. And then I got to go to the international this year, so it's like a nice, full circle. And my gamer tag, everyone always asks me this because they're like, your name is Tiffany. Where does Ames come from? I thought your name was Amy. It's actually short for Amethyst, which is my birthstone. So, yeah.
Okay.
Every time I tell that story, everyone's like, oh, okay, that makes so much more sense. But yeah, all right. Well, we've come to the end of our show. So if you guys have any shout outs you'd like to give, now would be the time. Anything.
Okay, I want to plug my event right now. It's called HighlanderCon. So no matter where you are in the nation, it's called www.highlandercon.com. It's going to be a huge event. We're expecting tons of people, some special guests. I'm going to leak it here in our show today, are like Medios and Dyrus. So they're going to come down along with other players like Bishu, Low Poly, Sojin. They're going to compete as well. And it's going to be a really fun event. League of Legends, Smash, Melee, Smash 4, Hearthstone, and Overwatch are going to be available. Sponsored by Gigabyte, Razer, Vertigear, chairs, and like tons of more stuff. So please come. And I want to shout out to Highlander Gaming. This is like all my time. It's basically my job. It's just like the best club. And if you go to UCR, please join. It's a great event, and it's a great place to be. So thanks.
I'd say shout out to all my officers and directors. I mean, we would never be here without you guys. Shout out to Scott, Miles, Jonathan, Brian, Owen, all these, and Michelle. Michelle was the one that actually came to my house. We were got food, but shout out to all of them for kind of seeing the bigger picture and just like moving forward as one unit. I mean, it's been super rewarding so far. So I would not be here on the show today. So definitely shout out to them and their hard work.
Well, thanks so much, Kevin and Sabrina, for coming on the show. And as always, we'll be on next week at the same time, hopefully. And next week, the current plan is to try and do that coaching episode that real life interfered with last week. So hopefully, we'll have Blitz and James on next week, and we'll see you then.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.